Wankhede 2004, now Wankhede 2024. After 20 years, India will go into a home test with a series out of their reach. And for New Zealand, who are already flying high, there's a chance to reach uncharted territory. They could become the first team to consign India to a whitewash in a home test series of three or more matches. Welcome to ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, where we're joined by Sanjay Manjrekar to build up to the third and final test of this series at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. Usually, this sort of build up narrative works the other way around, Sanjay, where India have sealed the series and they're going into a last match. What do they look to find out? In this case, it's completely different.
Yeah, amazing turn of events, and that is why you've got to love Test cricket for the kind of surprises that you see. And in the end, when somebody wins, it's a real show of character. The 20 over format, it's fun. I love it, but at the end of it, it doesn't quite show character because if you win the battle for about an hour or even less, you win the match. Whereas to win two Test matches in completely different conditions is just a great story for New Zealand cricket. So yes, well done. And India, not used to this, but I know exactly how they'll turn up for this final test.
Yeah, the difference between any previous era or time period and now is that it's not just rocking up for pride and avoiding a whitewash. There's a World Test Championship final place at stake, something which appeared to be in India's grasp about 2 weeks ago, but now already India are fighting tough odds as far as their place in it is concerned. So no room for error, really.
Yes, and considering that India go to Australia after this, there are no easy points there as well. They'll have to really work hard to garner those points. So yes, the ICC Test Championship makes it even more important for teams to play every game with, the intention to win. But having said that, the Indian cricket culture has changed in the last many years now, where you rarely see India just turning up and trying to complete the formalities. Had they been too up, they would have looked to win really hard, to win 3-0. And I go back to the example of that test match, the final test match after losing the series in the Wanderers at the Wanderers, where on a treacherous pitch, India was keen to keep playing. It was a pitch where the match should have been called off. Virat was captain at the time, and India was keen to play just to win that test match. And I see that happening here again. No matter what the position in the series, you'll see them coming hard and trying to win it desperately. And that is the big change, and a change that one should be proud of with Indian cricket, where they turn in everything. It's just become part of their DNA now, where they turn in and just want to excel and try and win.
Let's talk about changes from test number two to test number three. Do you expect any changes to the lineup? And more than personnel, what do you expect the conversations to have been like in the camp, which, as you mentioned after the second test, are sure to be hurting?
Now, the problem, not problem, but what is going to be really interesting is the team selection is completely dependent, is going to be dependent on the pitch, which is largely so, but more so at the Wankhede Stadium. Now, I know this pitch really well, and it's an out and out red soil. It hasn't bothered with mixing black soil and stuff. So it's a pure red soil pitch. And I've always said this about the Wankhede Stadium, it's a pitch that is waiting to turn, in the sense if you don't want it to turn, you've got to leave a lot of grass, which means that if you're bowling first, you have a huge advantage, especially in the test matches. I've seen numerous times where teams have batted first for the right reason because they knew the pitch is going to turn later on, but there's so much help for the seamers in the first couple of hours. The teams have found themselves to be 5 wickets down. So it's likely if there is grass, they have to keep grass because otherwise the pitch just crumbles away very quickly. So if they keep grass and there's a bit of moisture, then I don't think India will be again as positive and confident about batting first, knowing the damage that New Zealand can do. But the pitch will turn later on. And if the match goes on to day 4 and 5, will turn really slowly. So they'll have to think about team combination. I would think two seamers might be the way to go. If it is an out and out, you look at it and looks like a pitch that will turn from afternoon or evening, then maybe two seamers. If not, three seamers won't be such a bad idea.
If it Let's go into that bowling combination question then. I guess the spinners, if you're playing three spinners, is straightforward because Washington Sundar is now on that flight to Australia. Kuldeep Yadav is not there. But if you had to choose two pacers, both Siraj and Akashdeep have had their challenges in this series. Akashdeep only having bowled 6 overs. With that lens to Australia, what are you considering in the pace mix? You want to give them overs in this test?
No, I'll think purely this test match and try and win it. Forget about Australia. And really, I've said this before as well. Whatever India does here will have no bearing on their performance in Australia because the challenges, conditions are so different. On current form and recent contribution, Akash Deep sort of pips Mohammed Siraj for that second seamer's position. But at the Wankhede Stadium, the ball can swing posty as well. It's a nice ground for swing bowlers. So maybe that might just get India to go back to their more trusted over the years seam bowler in Mohammed Siraj. But I think they might just continue to back Akashdeep on recent form. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but two seamers, mostly Akashdeep with Mohammed Siraj, very close as a second option.
And the workload conversation still reading the same way for Bumrah. It's 41 overs he's bowled in these two tests. And thanks to his batters, there have been extra days of rest with test matches finishing early.
Yeah, all the seniors in the team in Indian cricket are well rested. Let's not fool ourselves by saying that they're overworked or, they play a lot. Indian cricket is busy. The Indian cricketers aren't so busy because everybody gets their periodic, time off. And this is an important test match just to make a statement. And that's why Bumrah will play and he'll bowl exactly the way he's done until now, bowl his heart out, and he'll enjoy bowling at the Wankhede Stadium.
Speaking of men who would want to make a statement, two who hold this city very close. One born here, one who's almost an adopted child. The last time Virat Kohli was here, he touched white ball immortality with a 50th ODI 100 at Wankhede. Both of them in desperate need of runs and a statement.
Yes, and that is again going to be another, facet to this contest. It's going to be another feature that will get the crowds, and you'll be actually, let's be prepared for a really good crowd to come in because there is interest for exactly those reasons. India playing for pride. People like Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, for them, they're going to come in and play like it's the most important match of their lives. So yes, for all those reasons, you'll see a lot of people coming in. And yes, tough for Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli because if they bat at the wrong time, if they bat again on day one, if there's some amount of freshness, then we've seen the seamers use that, freshness even on Indian pitches to get lethal results. So they'll have their work cut out. But let's, especially Virat Kohli, I just love the way he comes out, believing in himself, and he'll be up there for a fight. And Rohit Sharma, by now, I hope he's worked enough to just tighten that defense that seems to have gone a little loose in the last few months.
What is the message you are giving to both the senior batters, Kohli and Rohit, as well as the rest of the batting lineup, who are surely jilted after the performances of the last two tests?
I think Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli clearly just maybe focusing on the defense because they aren't players who will be able to counter-attack. I mean, Rohit Sharma as well. It's difficult to counter-attack in test matches unless you're chasing a small target like they were against Bangladesh. So somewhere, I think both should be really focusing on their defense. Virat Kohli, obviously, the length perception needs to get better. Let's hope that happens. Yashasvi Jaiswal, like I mentioned in the last game, should maybe just look to play the ball as for merit and not in phases. What can you tell Sarfaraz Khan or Rishabh Pant? Nothing. So leave them the way they are. But I think it's a test match more for the senior players than the younger players as to how they rise to the occasion. It's really about Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli as to how they, front up.
All right, then. That's the stage set for Test cricket's return to Wankhede Stadium, a ground special to Sanjay Manjrekar, and he will break down the contest as it unfolds in Mumbai over the next few days. Thank you, Sanjay, for setting up the test.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.